Variables are strongly typed in C++. That means that the token representing a variable represents both its value and its type. Here in Xcode, I've opened a working copy of working.cpp. Let's start by defining a variable. This statement defines an integer variable. Currently it has no assigned value, so its value is said to be undefined. An undefined value is a very dangerous thing, so be sure to always assign a value to a variable before you use it. Once a variable is defined, you may assign a value to it and then use it. This is called initializing the variable. So I can come down here and I can say I equals 7, and that assigns a value to the variable. And this is a variable of type int, which stands for integer. And so I've assigned the integer 7 to my integer variable. And now I can print its value. I can use printf for this. And in printf, that %d is for printing integers. And I no longer need this line. And now when I run it, you see we have the value is 7. So now we've defined a variable on line 7, we've assigned a value to it on line 8, and we've used its value on line 9. Now, under many circumstances, you may both define and initialize a variable at once, like this. And now I don't need this line anymore. And I'll build and run, and you can see that the value is still 7. It's usually a good idea to initialize a variable as soon as possible, because undefined values are dangerous, so I'll usually initialize it when it's defined. C++ also uses qualifiers, sometimes called modifiers, that change the behavior of variables in various ways. A qualifier becomes part of the type. For example, if I put the const qualifier before this integer type, this tells the compiler that the value of this variable cannot change once it's defined. This is called a read-only variable. So I build and run, and you see that it still works exactly the same. But if I try to change the value once it's been defined, you'll notice that I get an error here, this little red mark, and if I tap on that, it says read-only variable is not assignable. So because of that const qualifier, if I take that const qualifier off, now it's okay, and when I build and run, you see that the value is 47. So that const qualifier, it prevents the value from being changed. And it's actually a very common and very useful thing to use. So in C++, a variable must be defined before it can be used. The fundamental types and qualifiers are covered in more detail in the data types chapter. So let's delete our working copy and run clean to reset our workspace for the next lesson.